Well, this dude gets asked, Matthew Miller, do you have any doubts that it was just one side doing the shell and the killing? And he responds with, well, I've seen reports that it was both sides, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, like, what happened to, it was a stampede and these people just died from a stampede. Now it's being claimed that both sides were shooting.
And you don't have any doubt that only one side did the shooting and the killing and the shelling and so on of these people, correct?
Said, I have seen reports I have seen different reports with respect to that very question.
Right.
We don't know, as I said earlier, the ground truth of what happened, which is why we think it's appropriate that investigation be conducted.
So you think that there were other people shooting
Said, I said I have
Palestinians?
seen reports that other people were shooting. I don't know the veracity of any of those reports, which
Okay, but where are these reports of other people shooting? I mean, the IDF goes out and admits that they shot at Palestinians, but there was no mention by the IDF spokesperson that people were shooting at them. All they said that people were stampeding and that the IDF felt like that was a threat to them, which is why they had to shoot because they didn't respond to their warning shots. So now it's there was shooting on both sides, which means that the IDF had to shoot people. And it's crazy because you also had a advisor for the Israeli government claim that the IDF wasn't there whatsoever.
is why we're seeking more information.
And you expect to get any results from these
We do.
investigations, these reports?
We
Will
do.
you come back to us next week and tell us this is?
I can't promise you next week because I don't know how long an investigation will take, but hold on, certainly when an investigation is completed and we're briefed on that investigation, I'm happy to come brief you on that.
But the Israeli government has already investigated themselves and said that they're at no fault because the IDF felt threatened, so that justifies them murdering, starving people.
On the principle of it, why is it so difficult for this government to say we condemn the killing of children, Palestinian women and children? Why can't you say the word condemn?
Saeed, if you listen to what I said a moment ago,
hold
on. Saeed, please don't interrupt me.
Yeah?
I said far.
Yeah, he literally can't say we condemn the actions of the Israeli government against the innocent Palestinians. But the moment you talk about Hamas, they can go into great detail about how bad Hamas is and how much they hate Hamas and how much we need to fight against Hamas and their murders of innocent civilians. But the moment you start talking about the Israeli government killing innocent civilians, it's like, whoa, 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 we gotta chill out there. We can't fight the Israeli government.
Far too many Palestinians have died. Thousands of Palestinian children have died, and it is a tragedy when one of them dies. Of course, we don't want to see a single child die. We don't.
If you don't want to see a single child die, then why is the United States arming and funding the Israeli government who is using that to kill innocent Palestinians?
Want to see anyone die as a result of this conflict, which is why we have been working to bring this conflict to a close as soon as possible. But whenever
since the very beginning, the United States has been doing nothing but defending the Israeli government just until they've thought about doing the Rafah invasion, where it would be undeniable that they're trying to do an ethnic cleansing if they were to actually start doing massive airstrikes in the ground invasion that they want to.
Whenever you ask me these questions, I do think you continue to kind of just elide over the fact that Hamas bears a great deal of responsibility for putting those children in harm's way. Remember, it was Hamas that launched this war in the first place with an attack on Israel that killed men, women, and children, and that Hamas.
Okay, but it wasn't Hamas that shot at Palestinians trying to get food from a truck convoy. It is wild how, like, no matter what the Israeli government does, you have people that try to blame Hamas for it. I mean, you could have IDF soldiers that could line up a bunch of babies against the wall and shoot them, and you'd have people like this dude still blame Hamas, saying, well, October 7th happened, so the Israeli government had to line up babies against the wall and blow their brains out.
That hid and continues to hide behind children as human shields. So yes,
Okay, but hiding behind human shields does not give another group the right to kill those human shields. A human shield is a hostage, and killing a hostage is a war crime. But somehow, when it's the Israeli government, it's good or okay that they kill human shields because Hamas is so bad that they use human shields, and the Israeli government has no other choice but to shoot babies in the head.
we do not want to see any child die. We don't want to see any innocent civilian die, which is why we are working so hard to try to achieve a temporary ceasefire that would alleviate their suffering.
Yet I have not heard the word condemned. I mean, this war began way before October 7. I mean, in fact, the reason that this administration was so strong on, pursuing a Middle East peace and so on, because the war has been going on for decades before and so on. We heard this administration went.
Yeah, we cannot truly pretend here that October 7th was the start of the war between Hamas and Israel, or the start of the Israeli government's war crimes against Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank, because since the creation of the Israeli government, it's been nothing but war crime after war crime after war crime against Palestinians. And it was just one big war crime and genocide in order to create the Palestinian government, because you had to force out a bunch of people, and those that didn't want to leave got murdered.
When they came into office, talking about reopening the consulate, talking about reopening the PLO office here, talking about restarting and reigniting peace talks and so on, re-aiding UNRWA and so on, simply because the war has been going on for a very long time. Because Gaza was under siege for a very, very long time.
Saeed, nothing.
Can we also acknowledge the fact that the Israeli government, Bibi Netanyahu, funds Hamas in order to help prevent the Palestinian Authority from gaining any kind of traction in creating a two-state, creating a Palestinian state, because Bibi Netanyahu is against a two-state solution, and he knows that if he funds and supports Hamas, he can use them to help split up the Palestinian people and prevent them from creating their own state.
Nothing that happened before October 7th justifies what Hamas did on that day. And it is before October 7th.
Wait, let's...
Nothing that happened before October 7th justifies what Hamas did on that day. And it is
But nothing that Hamas did on October 7th justifies the Israeli government in killing innocent civilians. If Hamas can't use what happened to Palestinians as a justification, then the Israeli government can't use what Hamas did as a justification. But that's what the Israeli government has been doing no matter what. Anytime a IDF soldier murders an innocent Palestinian, all they do is scream October 7th.
What Hamas did on that day that led to the outbreak of this war and led to the suffering of so many innocent Palestinians. And I just feel...
Okay, but how does Hamas justify the Israeli government arming and funding settlers in the West Bank and the settlers killing innocent Palestinians in the West Bank and taking their land? Did Hamas somehow cause the Israeli government to arm and fund settlers and create illegal settlements, which are considered illegal by the UN and international law?
I feel it's important to correct that fact.
Fine. I mean, you guys said this many times before, but in fact, Israel has been waging war on Gaza for a very, very long time. Let me ask you on the aid issue, on the trucks and the trailers and so on. Is there anyone other than Israel that is holding the aid from going in?
It is not a question of aid going in. That's not the problem right now, Saeed. The problem is that when aid gets in, there's a distribution problem
Right.
inside Gaza right now because there are police officers, some of whom are members of Hamas,
Right.
who have been providing the security.
Right. Like, that's, the problem with aid is what, I guess, Hamas stealing all the aid. Just the claim that a lot of people want to make that, like, if you send aid to Palestinians, it's just going to be Hamas stealing it. So no matter what you do, you're inadvertently funding Hamas. Like, okay, but if you're against that, okay, then you got to be against Bibi Netanyahu directly funding Hamas, which he does. Bibi Netanyahu is a supporter of Hamas.
For those for that distribution inside Gaza, and what Israel says is that they have a legitimate right to go after members of Hamas. So we would obviously prefer to.
Okay, so do Palestinians have a legitimate right to go after settlers that go out and kill Palestinians and take their land? Can Palestinians in the bank arm and armor themselves and attack the Israeli government for taking their land in the West Bank? Do Palestinians have the right to defend themselves?
To see members of a security force inside Gaza who are not Hamas members, but that's not where we are today. So it is a situation that we continue to try to work through.
So this is really the classic catch-22 kind of situation because Hamas governed Gaza for a very long time. All the police, all the, many of the security forces and so on. Unless you supply Gaza with police and, other staff, people, whatever, who are from Egypt, from anywhere, to distribute these things, it's going to be the same people to distribute it.
As I said,
correct?
it is an
So